Broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Cleveland. It's station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And I am your host, Grumpy Stern. And we're joined by the Grumpy Jackalope. Oh, yeah. And the show is brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. How's everyone? I'm doing better. The antibiotics are doing their job. And I can't see shit with these sunglasses on. It sucks to be old. I spotted this thing and I said, I have to order it. It was only $5. It came with the sunglasses and, where did I put it? It came with a gold disco chain. And I don't know where I put it. Yeah. Came with a phony mustache. And when I looked at it, I said, it looks like Howard Stern. So I'm going to order it and I will do a show as Grumpy Stern. Yeah, it's nice and curly. $5. Temu.com. How come I am so blue tonight? What the hell? I don't know why I'm so blue. Usually when I turn that on, something with the camera. There. I'm not blue. I spotted this on Temu and I was like, oh, I've got to buy it. Matter of fact, I think I'll wear it to the store one day just to see what the hell happens. Oh, man. And I missed it. I don't know how I missed it. I must have glossed right over it. I didn't realize that on the 15th, we lost Robert Duvall. He was 95 years old. And I'll tell you what, he had quite a career, you know. He was known for starring in The Godfather, a Coppoplix, yeah. Apocalypse Now. He won the Academy Award for Tender Mercies. And he also starred in the TV series Lonesome Dove. I forgot about that. You know, I'll tell you what, he was an actor that really defined American cinema for half a century. Made his film debut in 1962 in To Kill a Mockingbird. I'm going to make a film called To Kill a Vulture Bird. Oh, shit, I'll hear about that from the CEO in the morning. Hey, TV! How do you missed it. Hang on a minute. I'm Grumpy Stern. What do you think? Do you like it? Problem is I can't read with these sunglasses on. Well, actually, I can see a little bit. That's all right. I can't stand these things. Back to the grumpies. I've got one more coming. They were supposed to come together, and it figures one got screwed up in shipping. I've got one more that you're going to love even better than Grumpy Stern. And, by the way, the package finally arrived. Addressed properly, street address, delivered a milk chute. This is the package that started out in, let me go through the shipping. It started out in Canton on February 7th. Then it went the natural route, Canton to Akron. Now, from Akron, the natural shipping for the post office would have been to the main in Cleveland. Well, from Akron, this package went to Albany, New York. Then from Albany, New York, it went to Springfield, Massachusetts. Then from Springfield, Massachusetts, it went to Raleigh, North Carolina. Then from Raleigh, North Carolina, it went to Greensboro, North Carolina. And finally, the post office realized it was supposed to be in Cleveland. And I received it today. Unfortunately, I needed it for the axle repair on the Passat. So I had to run up to the auto parts store and buy a tube of Loctite for the axle bolts. So now I have a tube of Loctite that I have no use for, really. Well, I'll stick it in the car. I'll need it somewhere. But yeah, it went everywhere except where it was supposed to go. I was figuring when I checked the tracking that it probably would have been like out in San Francisco and then went to Hawaii and then from Hawaii up to Alaska and then Alaska back to Cleveland. The package took a tour. So 3 more tomorrow, huh? Well, let's see what happens. Just remember what I told you. Go in the house, turn on all the faucets, flush the toilet, watch how the water goes down the drains, especially the bathtub or the shower. I mean, your real estate agent will be chasing you around the house going, turn that off, turn that off. Because the last thing you want is plumbing problems. Especially in the bathtub. Been there, done that. Not with this house. The house I had down the street. Salute. Ugh. It don't get any better, I'll tell you that. I was kicking a few ideas around today, TV. And what I have to do is I've got to get on your YouTube page and just kind of peruse a couple of videos to come up with the proper intro and music. I was kind of playing around with a couple of new intros for me, and I didn't like any of them. How put it this way. How would you like me to introduce the show? Well, that's right. You told me that once before. It sucks to get old. Do you have my email? Because what you could do is email me, a couple of different ways that you want me to do it. Shit, I can't remember. I haven't been on my home page so long. Wait, I'll just tell you. It's DWL 275 at AOL.com. It's not like we have 2,000 people here that'll be sending me spam emails. Ron and Kathy have it, so why shouldn't you? This wig is nice and warm, keeping my head nice and warm. I didn't have a head of hair like this when I was in high school. Although I wasn't allowed to have a head of hair like this. I always had to have them military haircuts. The only problem is you can't really see how curly it is. I mean, it looks like if you take a picture of look at a picture of Howard Stern. I got this curl right in the middle of my forehead. I look like Shirley Pimple. Come on, get back up there. Get up there where you belong. I have eyebrows now. Pulled it down a little too far. Actually, it comes down in the back. I think I will wear this thing to the store one day. Just to see what kind of looks I get. I wish I would have gotten a little sooner. I would have liked to worn it for my little cutie cashier on her last day of work. She'd have looked at me and went, I didn't realize Grumpy had a younger brother. I come across a real interesting court case last night. Guy was in front of a judge for a DUI. And you step up to the podium and they say, give your name. And the guy said, Alan A. Allen. And the judge went, Alan A. Allen? What's the A stand for? And the guy said, Allen. The judge said, your name is Alan, Allen, Allen? Yes, Your Honor. The judge said, interesting name. And the guy commenced to say, well, I have a younger brother and sister, and all of our initials are A. And the judge said, really? And the guy commenced to say, yeah, my father was a high-ranking executive for the American Automobile Association. And me and my brother and sister all have the initials AAA. He said, well, what's your brother's name? Andrew Allen Allen. Really? What's your sister's name? Aileen Allen Allen. He said, my father really loved his job. And all three of us, our initials are AAA. Really, Oodles? Boy, I'll tell you what, that sucks. To sit for 27 years for a crime you didn't commit and know you were innocent. I hope he sues the state because they owe him 27 years, although, you know, the money don't make up for the time that you languished in prison, not to mention how many times you could have got shanked. I would think a nice round figure would be $1 million a year. I would tend to think that he has grounds for a hell of a lawsuit. But like I say, money don't make up for lost time. And when you come down to it, step out of prison, what a shock. First of all, to see the change in automobiles in 27 years and the technology, he has to learn how to use a cell phone. First of all, they have to explain to him what the hell a cell phone is. Now, TV-wise, yeah, they got flat screens in prison, so he's seen the transformation, but to lose 27 years of your life knowing you were innocent, that sucks. There was a case, oh God. A guy had something, you know, along that line. He served 22, 25 years, and the DNA exonerated him. They let him out, you know, he got out of prison, free man, and he sued the state, and he won, and he was supposed to get, I don't know, $22, $24 million. And a week before he was to receive the check, he had a massive heart attack and died. He won $24 million and never got to see a penny. And basically the coroner said that the stress of being in prison and knowing you were 100% innocent aged this guy like 10 years for every one. I think he was out 2 years. He had 2 years of freedom and then had a massive heart attack. That was sad. And it's time for Grumpy Stern to lose the wig. Was getting a little too hot. That's the only problem with them. They don't breathe. You know, the beanies breathe. Unfortunately, the wig didn't. But I made my point. I could see Ron and Kathy. They're looking, going, where the hell is Grumpy at? We're looking at a blank, empty chair. The bird and the jackalope just staring back at everybody. I like the shock value. I could see Kathy going, holy shit! What the hell is that? It's Grumpy Stern. I went online and I actually got the music that he used to use back when he was first on the air. And it had so many cuss and swear words in it, I couldn't put it up on YouTube. Plus it was probably copyrighted. Man, you should see. I got my new goddamn cholesterol medication. You ought to see the size of these horse capsules. Holy shit! They're enough to choke you. And then, you know, I'm 30 days into a 90-day prescription. What am I supposed to do? Throw them out? That's a lot of money in that bottle. I guess basically I'll put them in the back of the medicine cabinet, and one day he'll lower my medication and I'll have the pills. Yeah, he couldn't wait. Matter of fact, I'm not even 30 days into that 90-day prescription. I'm like 22. Because I said to him, you want me to finish out? Oh, no. Start with them right away. Well, it's not like I can go back to the pharmacy and say, hey, I got 60 days worth of pills here. Can I trade them in? That was one thing I liked about my primary care doctor when I was with the clinic. Although they can't do that shit anymore. He had a pharmacy in the back offices of his building, because all the drug companies would bring in free samples. I remember, I think it was blood pressure medication, and he come out and he went, here's 60 days worth. In 60 days, we'll do a blood draw and we'll see if they're working. And then, the federal government went, oh, we can't do that no more. Although, it was the drug companies. They came in and they stocked, a whole back room, and that way, when he wrote a prescription, it was for that drug company. That's the same thing. When the federal government came down on the cigarette companies, God, it was amazing how much free shit you got from cigarette companies. Beach towels and picnic sets and hats and T-shirts and jackets, and then the government said, oh, can't do that no more. Well, the drug companies were the same way. I remember, I would go to sign in, and there was a big sign. Take a pen, sign in, keep the pen. And it was for a drug company, Eli Lilly or... I'm trying to think some of the... you'd come in and there'd be a basket full of pill cutters. And then there would be a basket full of those Monday through, Sunday pill containers so that you could sort your pills out by the day. And what the hell else? There were pens, pencils, keychains. Every time I came in, there was a different basket of freebies sitting on the counter. And then the government went, can't do that no more. God, I had boxes full of pens and mechanical pencils and flashlights. Matter of fact, what the hell did I do with it? I just had that stupid thing. Yeah, this is for some medication I never even heard of. Coreg CR. COREG-CR. Extended release capsules. It's a nice little pocket flashlight. Walked in one day and there was about 200 of them in a basket on the counter. The receptionist said, take as many as you want. I took a handful. This is the last one I got. Don't have a battery in it because I'm not using it. But this was the kind of shit that the drug companies would give away. And then the government went, no more, not allowed. This one's for Levaquin. Very nice pen. I mean, they didn't give cheap shit away. But there would be a basket on the counter and receptionist would say, help yourself, take as many as you want. I wonder if we'll see that on YouTube one day. Because some of the bigger, like Stranger Stories, if they got court connections. And another one, it's called EWU, EWU, Explore With Us. They have some outstanding court videos. But Stranger Stories was the one that had all that footage from Giant Eagle and all the body cams and I can almost imagine what it costs some of these YouTubers to buy that stuff because I know like FOIA requests are getting expensive. I'm sure somebody filmed that. Maybe the court had a camera in it. Most of your courts nowadays have cameras. There's very, very few that don't. Now, I know Cuyahoga County I don't think that they don't do court trials live. But some of the bigger, the big murder cases and that, you'll see them on YouTube. Matter of fact, God, last week I must have watched 10 interrogation videos. Matter of fact, as soon as I clicked on it and it started to play, I knew. I was like, that's the Justice Center. I recognized the interrogation room. And I can see the old courthouse across the street. This summer, I'm going to go downtown, and I'm going to see if I can get into the old courthouse and take pictures of the rotunda. Because that was a beautiful building. Yeah, they must be like, what's that one that out in our Nevada judges? Notre Dame Law Extension must be like them. Because our Nevada judges, they've been filming a lot of the goofy-ass Kim Blandino shit. He was in court again a couple weeks ago. Suing everybody under the sun. Kim Blandino, he's a joke. I bet you when they came down with the verdict there, the courtroom probably erupted, everybody cheering and clapping. Do they have an exit date when he actually walks out of prison? Because very rarely do you get out immediately. I have seen a few though, where the judge said, "You're free to go," and the guy kind of looks around and goes, "Really? You're in a suit, right? No handcuffs, nothing. You're free to go." The only problem is you are so regimented that it is very hard to get used to being a free person again. I know they had interviewed, God, I can't remember that guy's name. I'll have to look, see if I can find it. One of the news stations interviewed him about 6-7 months after he was out. And he said, "I'm still up at 4 a.m, you know. He slept with his bedroom door shut because he couldn't get used to having it open. And being 27 years, man, you are regimented." That Moodles, that would be interesting to see that when they tell him you're free to walk out. You know, the court gives it an apology. Well, that don't make up for 27 years. And I'm sure all the local news stations will be carrying it, you know, when he actually walks free. God, I wish I could remember that guy's name. Can't think of it. But he said, you know, you're so used to being told where to go, where not to go, being escorted here, escorted there. He had a hell of a time. You know, like the first time his mother, who was still alive, God love her, told him to go take a walk around the block. He was afraid to leave the house. For a couple of reasons. One, he was, so prison regimented. And for two, he had the fear of the damn thing being reversed. Step out of the house and get arrested, That's I think it would be harder to adjust to being free than, adjusting to being in prison. He literally said he couldn't sleep with his bedroom door open. It had to be closed. And he had a hell of a time adjusting to being in the free world again. And this guy, 27 years, oh man. To count the days, you're in prison knowing you are 100% innocent. And of course, every convict, I'm innocent. So everybody fucking ignores you. It's sad it took this long. I watched a interrogation video last night of a guy that committed a murder 30 years ago and literally got away with it for 30 years, and then they retested some DNA that he left on a washcloth or a bathroom towel or something, and he was basically, he had he not left his DNA, he'd have got away scot-free, because the case immediately went cold because they had no clue it was him. And he was in the military at the time, and shortly after he had committed the murder, he got transferred. Where the hell was he stationed? Some military base in the Midwest. And then he got sent to Hawaii. And then from Hawaii, where the hell did he go? Florida. He bounced around the country. And they did one of those genealogy. It took like 2 years. And how the genealogy worked down to him, I can't remember, but they explained it. So they, of course, they did the old follow him around. And he went into a diner and he had lunch. And of course, he ordered a soft drink. and it had a straw. You know, he's drinking the soft drink. He gets up, he pays the bill. Well, there were two FBI agents sitting at the lunch counter, basically almost on either side of him. And when he went up to the cash register, one of the agents snatched the straw, and they had it tested. And after 30 years, they had him. Because the DNA on the straw matched the DNA that he had left on a washcloth or a bathroom towel or something. And when they showed up at the house to kind of question him, he knew. And the FBI agents left. And they no sooner got back to the office, and he called. And he said, I want to come in right now. And they said, okay. And he sat down, and he gave a full confession. And he told the FBI agents, I have lived like this for 30 years. I knew one day there'd be a knock on the door. And he said, I'm ready to go to prison. And he had a wife and a couple of kids. Well, the kids were grown, you know. And on the way to the police station, he called his wife and he told her, I'm going to jail. And she was like, for what? And he goes, well, I committed a murder 30 years ago. And nobody knew. All right, Oodles, thanks for popping in there, buddy. Let us know how things go on that case. I'm really you got us all interested now. Well, TV, that's what happens when you get old. It don't take much to distract you. Like me, you know, I'll be talking about something, then I lose my train of thought, and I'm like, what the hell was I talking about here? Then there was an interrogation video I watched last night, and the whole thing was on video. And what the two guys, actually the three, they come in and rob this guy, and then they ended up giving him a dirt nap. And what and you know, usually when they come, you know, they come in for a robbery, they'll take everything that they think of, you know, of value. And he had a laptop sitting on his bedroom dresser that was aimed out in the living room. and it had a motion sensor on the camera. And it filmed the whole thing. And they never took the laptop. Yeah, good one, TV. That's almost as bad as one day I said to my kid, I says, spell orange. And he looked at me as serious as hell and said, the fruit or the color? I said, never mind. Yeah. Spell orange for me. And as serious as hell, he said, the fruit or the color? I said, go back up in your room. And he's going to be 41. Scary. Yeah, it hasn't worked in over 2 years. Of course, the problem is he thinks a starting time is a suggestion. You know, they'll tell him, okay, starting time's 8 o'clock. He gets there like 8:15, 8:25. Well, I'm here. You're late. Well, it's still 8. Not 8 o'clock, but it's still 8. It's not like I got here at 9:01. And he wondered why he got booted from 2 different Amazons. They're like, hey, we start at 7:30, not, 8:05. Well, I'm here. But see, this shit went on from his first part-time job when he was in high school. And the sad thing is, almost every employer overlooked a lot of it. So you go almost 20 years coming to work when you feel like it. You're institutionalized at that point. Oh, everybody else will be there at 8. And the shame of the matter is he would be up like two and a half hours before he had to go to work. And I'd be telling him, hey, get there a half hour early. What? Yeah, Kathy, but he's trying. You got to give the kid credit. Even though he's got that disability, he's trying. Yeah, he's trying the patience of a teacher, but he's still trying. You got to give him credit for that. He might be a royal pain in the ass, but he's trying. And sooner or later, he will get probably to a point where he might be able to hold a small job. Even if it would be, sorting boxes. You take a look at now. I'm going to say like Goodwill or Salvation Army. They give them people jobs and they train them. There was a company, oh God, I don't even know if they're still there. And all the employees were handicapped in one way or another. And I think they basically were, the company made cardboard boxes. And they would stack the cardboard boxes on pallets to be shipped out. And, oh, TV's leaving us. All right, buddy. Thanks for being here. And, the ones that were mobile, they would stack the boxes as they came out of the machine. And I had talked to one of the bus drivers, and he kind of, because I would see the buses go in there all the time, and I asked him one day, I says, is that a school? And he said, no. He said, it's for handicapped and disability, and it's a job center. But your grandson is trying everybody's patience, but he's trying and he's learning. And you got to give him credit for that. God, I can't remember. I had a neighbor. Oh, I can't remember what her son had. Oh, God. Oh, I can't think of what his disability was. And he worked for a small company. they did assembly work. And whatever he assembled, he was a whiz at it. He would assemble more units than any of the other kids that were there. But like reading, forget it. Writing, forget it. You know, math, stuff like that. But anything that was hands-on, the kid was a whiz at it. Almost like, what the hell was the movie? It had Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise. The hell was the name of the movie? Rain Man. He was like that. And whatever they were assembling, they put like the box of parts down, and before they could instruct him, he was assembling whatever the items were. And they didn't even show him. He just looked at all the parts and went, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. Here you go. I mean, sometime kids with disabilities are better at certain things than a normal human. I haven't talked to her in years. She still lives up the street. I'm going to have to ask her one day. But I remember her telling, well, there were a couple of neighbors we were talking. And I don't know if they were assembling like clocks. It was, whatever it was a mechanical item. And they put the box of parts down in front of him. And the instructor, they said, they told him, Miss Smith will be over in a minute. And he looked at the parts and he started to put it together. Here you go. And the foreman or the supervisor, that was a freak item. That was a freak thing. And they brought him over another box of parts and here you go. And whatever they put down, because every week they worked on they assembled a different project. Whatever, I don't know. I got to talk to her. But she said, all right, maybe he was building clocks. And the next week, it was a gearbox for a machine. They would just put the parts down in front of him, and he'd be like, okay, this goes here. Here you go. But read a book, forget it. Do a math problem, forget it. But he was and very limited speech. Had a very small vocabulary and was really quirky. But when they told her, we brought the tray of parts over and we were going to show him how to do it, and whatever the item was, he had it together before the instructor got. And they checked it and they were like, "God damn, it works perfect." And it was like, I'll say maybe every month. It was a different, like I say, maybe he was assembling a clock, and then the next month it was like a gearbox that went on a machine, or a gauge for a car. They would just put the, okay, here you go, done. Matter of fact, I haven't seen him in a while. I'm going to have to walk up and talk to her. I'll knock on the door and she'll go, "Get off my fucking porch, beggar. I'm your neighbor. Even more of a reason to get off my porch. You scare the shit out of me." Oh, man. Right there. You would think for as long as I've been drinking that shit. But it works. I told Mary Ann, she was like, "Oh, that's an old wives' tale." And I'm thinking, you're the one that boils weeds. You should know unsweetened straight cranberry juice is a urinary tract flush. Yeah, I told her, I said, "I've been drinking so goddamn much cranberry juice." It's an old wives' tale. And I'm thinking, you got all them weeds behind your garage. You're like Yule Gibbons. And you're poo-pooing my cranberry juice. Yeah, I'm waiting for her one day to go, "This weed tastes like wild hickory nuts." Remember Yule Gibbons? That's what I got next door. Mary Ann Gibbons. Here, you want a weed? I'll pass. If it wasn't, I'd really piss her off. I'd go behind the garage with a weed whacker one day. She'd come out and didn't he do a cereal commercial? All I can remember is it tastes like wild hickory nuts. Was it a cereal commercial that he did? Grape nuts. Is that the one? It's one of my favorite cereals. I have a box I bought the other day. I love grape nuts. I've loved them since I was a kid. The only thing is, with no teeth, I have to pour the milk in and wait until the milk like disappears. And then they're soft enough to eat. But goddamn grape, oh, I've been eating them since I was 6, 7 years old. My grandfather ate them. Back then, you just poured a little milk on and crunch, 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 crunch. Now I put the grape nuts in the bowl and pour the milk in. When the milk vanishes, then they're edible. I had more of my pork loin last night. Oh, God, is that stuff delicious. I got just enough for one more meal. And I'm going to have to get another one. Absolutely delicious and tender. One good thing is Mark's carries them all the time. So I know I can get them. Yeah, it was all pre-marinated, wrapped in bacon. Bacon. That's why it was so good. It was wrapped in bacon. I never heard of meatloaf burgers. What do you use, meatloaf mix and you make a burger out of it? That sounds tasty. The major problem is trying to find meatloaf mix anymore. You know, because you had the beef and the veal and the pork. You mix it all together. The only place you can get it is Gigantic Eaglet. I have to go there anyway. I need to get a can of Spotted Dick. And then you pick up an antibiotic with it. And the only place that carries it is, you know, the Giga store. Oh, I hate that store. It's so goddamn big. Although, I could get me some sushi. Because the sushi guy works there. He has his own little cubicle. This goddamn Giant Eagle is so big, it has a coffee shop. And you can, like a restaurant, you can order something to eat. And then you can go over and watch the sushi guy make sushi. And it's got a bakery and a rarity, you know, a fresh meat counter where they actually have butchers. You tell them, hey, I want a steak this thick. They come out with a package with a steak that thick. You know, instead of bread, what I use I use panko. My grandmother used to use bread. I like the panko, what do you call it, breading? But I do it the same way, peppers, onions. And then when I put it in the oven, I got strips of bacon on top of it. Can't forget the bacon. Yeah, I get the mix. And then I add egg, I add panko, peppers and onions. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it gives it a very interesting flavor. It really does. Matter of fact, I did it by accident because I was out of bread. And I had this brand new container of panko breading. And I was like, oh, put some of this in there. And it turned out great. Try it sometime. It gives it a unique taste. Oh, that sounds interesting. That sounds real interesting. Cornbread and taco seasoning. I gotta write that down. Hang on. I never thought of cornbread and man. Pen. I'm gonna try that. Since I have to go to Gigantic Eaglet to get spotted dick and visit the sushi guy. I know I know they have the sushi. I would tend to think he's still there. I got a kick out of him. He rolls up that sushi. Then he pulls out that frickin' samurai sword. Hey, 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 hey. And every piece, it's amazing. He lines them all up. Every piece is the same size. I know he does that for the effect. He could use a small knife, but there'll be people watching him, and he rolls up that sushi roll, and he takes out that big samurai sword. Hey, 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 hey. And everybody, then he bows, But it's amazing. He lines them all up, but they're all the same size. Of course, like he said, before he got his sushi master certificate, he went to school for 20 fucking years. Because you are not allowed to make sushi like commercially in a restaurant or anything without that certificate. And it is framed in the back of his booth. Although it's all in Japanese, so, it could be an ad for laundry service for all we know. But he's got it hanging back there. He points to it, Because one day, him and I were talking, and I asked him, I said, what's that back there? Sushi master. Really? Then he told me 20 goddamn years before you get your sushi master certificate. You're a goddamn apprentice for 20 years. And he said, you know, you may be better than the sushi master that you're working for. 20 years. You are not ready to get your certificate until you have studied for 20 years. And he started at age 14. Because he's a whiz. So he went through, graduated high school at age 14 and went right into sushi school. But I love when he pulls out that big frickin' blade on it's got to be like 30 inches. Big, long, fancy handle. He stands back. Hey, 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 hey. Then he cleans that blade real nice, puts it back in the sheath, and then he puts the sushi in the containers, and every one of them is the exact same size. Absolutely amazing. Because I like he makes a combo. It's called the Blue Moon combo. And I always tell him, no raw. No raw. No raw. I don't want no raw fish in there. Because he makes sushi with the seaweed on the outside, and he makes sushi with the seaweed on the inside. And then I can't remember what's in that combo. But I love it. Because I always tell him, extra wasabi, please. And extra kimchi. I'll tell him, extra kimchi. And then he points, they have a little jar on the counter, you buy jar. Oh, just put a little extra kimchi in there. Yeah, okay. Hey. And its prices are very reasonable. I haven't been in there in like 5 years. Easy. Because I hate that store. But now that I have to get the spotted dick and some meatloaf mix, that'll be a combination. Meatloaf mix, sushi, and a can of spotted dick. Here's dinner. Yeah, I love. The only thing I really don't care for is the seaweed salad. I can't. One day he gave me a free one. Here, you try. Didn't care for it. I ate it. Because next time I went, he go, how do you like seaweed salad? No hi. No hi for me. No. But kimchi, absolutely outstanding. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'll get a combo. because he's got the two different types of sushi roll, and then he makes this other fancy. Oh, I'll tell you what. When he gets done, it's gorgeous. You know, the way he decorates and maybe over the weekend. Boy, I'll tell you, I screwed up. For some reason, I was thinking today was Saturday. All day. I don't know why. All day I thought today was Saturday. God, the weeks go by fast enough, let alone Jesus. And then God, it was like 4 o'clock. I looked and I went, today's Friday, you dumbass. Yeah, maybe Saturday or Sunday I'll go up to Gigantic Eaglet. Because now you got me wanting meatloaf. So I'll get meatloaf mix. Maybe I'll luck out because sometimes they have fresh liver. And they slice it to order. Yeah, I can go up and see my buddy. Hey. All right, show off. Just put it in the container already. I know it's the two different types of sushi. Because each one has a different, like one will have crab in it, one will have shrimp. And then he makes these rolls of some sort. I'll get a combo. A Blue Moon combo. God, my stomach will go into shock. It's easily been 5 years since I'll never forget the one time I brought it home. My buddy was over and he goes, "What the hell's that stuff?" I said, "Sushi." "Are you nuts?" "No, it's good." "Oh, nope, I wouldn't eat that. Nope." That's like the Indian store. They have packages of fried seaweed snacks. And the two brothers keep telling me, "Try it. You'll like it." And no. They were even offering to give it to me for free. No. Yeah, fried seaweed snack. Mmm. Matter of fact, I told them today that sweetbread is delicious. I said, "When are you going to get some more?" "Next week." I said, "How about the mango cookie?" "Next week." "Did you order a different flavor?" "You be surprised." "I'll be surprised." "You're scaring me." Yeah, it tells me, "You be surprised." But his wife, I still laugh. The way she was holding the bag up, had her hand underneath. Sweetbread, you like. I'm like, what are you filming a commercial in here? God, she's a little itty bitty thing. Christ, if she weighs 80 pounds soaking wet. God, her daughter is like almost up to her shoulder already. The little pixie. Matter of fact, she hasn't been there the last couple of days. I kind of miss Funny Man. That's me. Everybody in the store looks. It's the Walking Billy. What time is it? Oh, you're late. You're late. The Walking Billy is here. He's hungry. Yeah, Kathy, it was like she was doing a commercial. It's like what you see on TV, you know. She's holding the bag up and then she's running her hand past the where it says sweetbread. You like. No crunchy. Because I hate anything crunchy. You like. No crunchy. I'm looking around for the camera, you know. Where's the director? I'm waiting for somebody to yell, cut. Although it's good. It's even better than King's Hawaiian. They're like big hamburger buns. They're 6 in a pack and they're thick, but oh, is it delicious. God, I don't even put butter on them. I just eat them. Matter of fact, I told him, I said, boy, you got a winner with them. I'll buy them on a regular basis. I don't think they'd make a good hamburger, though, because they are a little on the sweet side. But, oh, God, oh, delicious. Especially for free. Well, time to feed the walking belly. All right. I know you want your delectables. Jesus, pain in the ass. You better give me a good massage tonight. Sitting there looking at me like, who you talking to? All right, everybody. Oh, I should have put the wig back on and the sunglasses. Grumpy Stern. I'm glad I got the shock value for you guys. I can imagine Kathy looking, go, who the fuck is that sitting down there? All right. Thanks for being here. Been a crazy night. And remember, WDWL TV, the home of not 1 but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And with that, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Everyone, take care. And there will be the obligatory to see us. See you, number 1. And See ya, number 2.